I still remember the feeling of warm blood trickling down my forehead, mixing with the remnants of cranberry sauce from the plate my father had just smashed my face into. The 4th of July fireworks exploded outside the lake house windows, their booms perfectly timed to drown out my son Noah's screams. My sister Vanessa stood there, phone raised high, live streaming my humiliation to her thousands of followers, while laughing like this was the funniest thing she had ever witnessed. That was the moment I knew. 28 years of being the family scapegoat, the disappointment, the one who existed only to make them look good, it all had to end, right there, with my blood staining their Italian carpet and my autistic son sobbing in the corner. I made a promise to myself. They would pay for every single moment of pain they had inflicted. But before I tell you how I burned their entire world to the ground, I need you to do something for me. If you are enjoying this story of justice and revenge, hit that like button. Subscribe to this channel because trust me, you will want to hear how this ends. And drop a comment below telling me what you would have done in my situation. Would you have stayed silent or would you have fought back? Now let me take you back to where it all began. Growing up as the middle child in the Ashford family meant learning early that love was conditional. My older sister Vanessa was the golden child born beautiful, charismatic, and ruthlessly ambitious. She could do no wrong in my parents' eyes. My younger brother died in infancy, a tragedy that my mother Barbara never let me forget. Was somehow cosmically my fault for existing. My father, Richard, a real estate mogul with political aspirations, saw children as assets or liabilities. Vanessa was an asset. I was decidedly the latter. From the age of 12, I was the one who cooked dinner when our housekeeper was off. I was the one who cleaned up after their elaborate parties. When Vanessa needed someone to blame for breaking Mother's crystal vase, it was always me. When Father needed someone to yell at after a bad business deal, I was the convenient target. They called it building character. I called it surviving. I thought things might change when I got into Columbia University on a full scholarship. For one brief, shining moment, I felt proud. I remember running down the stairs with the acceptance letter heart pounding with joy, ready to finally make my father see me as worthy. He looked up from his newspaper, read the letter, and tossed it back at me. Public ivy, he muttered. Vanessa got into Yale. Now that is something worth celebrating. My mother did not even look up from her phone. That should have been my first clue to run, but I was 18 and still believed that if I just tried harder, achieved more, sacrificed enough, they would finally love me. So I went to Columbia, worked 2 jobs to avoid asking them for money, graduated with honours in business administration, and came back home thinking I had proven myself. Instead, my father handed me a mop and told me to clean the pool house because Vanessa's engagement party was that weekend. I met Marcus during my senior year of college. He was charming, attentive, and everything my family was not. He listened when I talked. He held me when I cried about my family. He made me feel seen. We got married 6 months after graduation in a courthouse ceremony because my parents refused to pay for a wedding. Why waste money when you will just divorce anyway, my mother said with that cold smile of hers. Noah came along 2 years later. My beautiful, brilliant boy with his obsession with airplanes and his need for routine and his hatred of loud noises. When he was diagnosed with autism at age 3, Marcus left, just walked out one Tuesday morning and never came back. I later found out he had been cheating with his dental hygienist and they moved to Oregon together. He has not paid child support once in the 4 years since. That was when I had to move back into my parents' pool house. The apartment I could afford on my salary as a junior marketing associate was not in a good school district for Noah. I swallowed every ounce of pride and called my father. He made me beg, literally beg on the phone for 20 minutes before he finally agreed, but only if I earned my keep by handling household management, meaning I became their unpaid servant while paying them rent. Meanwhile, Vanessa's career skyrocketed. She became vice president of Daddy's company at 26, not because of merit, but because she was willing to do whatever it took to get ahead. I watched her steal ideas from junior employees, sleep with married clients, and manipulate her way to the top, and everyone praised her for it. She is so driven, they said. Such a go-getter. I spent 4 years in that pool house watching through the windows as they threw lavish parties. I was not invited to drove cars I could never afford, took vacations I could only dream of, and every single day they found new ways to remind me that I was less than. My mother would leave notes about how I had folded the towels wrong. My father would deduct from my allowance, which was really just money I had loaned them that they were supposedly paying back, if Noah made too much noise. Vanessa would drop by just to show off her latest designer purchases and ask me when I was going to get my life together. But I endured it because I had to, because Noah needed stability, because I was saving every penny I could to eventually get us out, because some desperate part of me still hoped that one day they would wake up and realize I was worthy of basic human decency. Then came that 4th of July, the day everything changed. My father called me 3 days before and ordered me to come to their annual Independence Day gala at the lake house. Not asked, ordered. I need the whole family there for photos, he said. I am announcing my city council campaign, and it needs to look like I have a stable, supportive family. I tried to explain that large crowds and fireworks were difficult for Noah, that he would be overwhelmed. Figure it out, Emily. For once in your life, do not be a disappointment. I showed up in my best dress, which was a clearance rack find from Target, and immediately knew I had made a mistake. The driveway was packed with Mercedes and BMWs and Teslas. I pulled up in my ancient Honda Civic with the dented bumper and felt the judgment before I even got out of the car. Vanessa met me at the door wearing a white Valentino dress that probably cost more than I made in 3 months. She smiled at me like a snake ready to strike. "Oh, good, you made it," she said, thrusting an apron into my arms. "The caterers are short-staffed and Daddy needs someone to handle the grill. Obviously, you cannot walk around in that dress, so this should help." She gestured to my outfit like I was wearing a garbage bag. I wanted to turn around and leave right then, but Noah was already excited about seeing the lake, and I could not bear to disappoint him. So I put on the apron and went to the back patio, where the massive built-in grill was already fired up with chicken and ribs that I had not been invited to eat. For the next 3 hours, I cooked while they socialized. My mother made a point of bringing her country club friends over to the grill area just so she could introduce me. "This is my daughter Emily. She helps with the household tasks. Emily, please make sure Mrs. Henderson's steak is medium rare." Not once did she call me her daughter in any meaningful way. I was the help. Noah tried his best. He really did. He sat at a small table near me, playing quietly with his toy airplane, trying not to let the noise and the crowd bother him. But I could see him starting to get overwhelmed. His hands started flapping. His breathing got faster. I was just about to take him inside for a break when it happened. He stood up to bring his plate to me and did not see my father walking behind him with a glass of expensive Bordeaux. They collided. The wine splashed across my father's white linen shirt and his Italian leather shoes. Noah froze, the meltdown already building. My father exploded. "You goddamn little brat!" he roared. He grabbed the toy airplane from Noah's hands and hurled it into the lake. "Can't you control your kid for 5 minutes, Emily?" Noah started screaming. Not crying screaming. The high-pitched sound that meant he was in full sensory overload and panic. I dropped the grill tongs and ran to him, pulling him into my arms, trying to use the pressure holds that sometimes calmed him down. My mother appeared like a vengeful ghost. "Get him quiet," she hissed. "The senator is here. You are ruining everything." "He is having a meltdown, Mum." "He cannot help it," I said, my own voice shaking. "We need to go inside where it is quiet." You need to control your child, she spat back. This is exactly why Marcus left you. You can't do anything right. The words hit like a physical blow, but I did not have time to process them. Noah was still screaming and now everyone was staring. I tried to stand up to carry him inside, but my father blocked the door. Where do you think you are going? He demanded. Noah needs to calm down. We are going to leave. You will leave when I say you can leave. Sit down. Dad, please. He is in pain right now. The noise, the people, it is too much. I do not care. You came here to play happy family, so sit down and play happy family. Something in me snapped. Maybe it was the lack of sleep from working double shifts all week. Maybe it was the years of accumulated resentment. Maybe it was watching my father care more about his political image than his grandson's well-being. Whatever it was, I finally said what I had been thinking for years. No, I said quietly. We are leaving. And you know what, Dad? All these people you are trying to impress, they should know the truth. That your perfect daughter, Vanessa, stole the entire concept for the Riverside project from a 22-year-old intern named Jenny, who she fired the next day. That you have been funneling campaign donations through shell companies to avoid taxes. That this entire family is built on lies and cruelty, and you are all too narcissistic to see it. The patio went silent. Even the fireworks seemed to pause. My father's face turned a shade of red I had never seen before. My mother gasped. Vanessa's mouth dropped open. Then my father moved. He crossed the distance between us in 3 strides and grabbed me by my hair. I screamed, still holding Noah, trying to protect him as my father dragged me toward the long dining table where all the food was laid out. He slammed my face down onto a plate, the hot food burning my cheek. Then he grabbed a wine bottle from the table and brought it down hard against the side of my head. My head felt like it split open. Something warm ran down my face, and I realized it was blood. Noah was crying somewhere behind me. Voices were yelling all around. Then I felt it again, the bottle hitting me a second time, then a third. In that moment, I understood something terrifying. My father was not just lashing out in anger. He wanted to hurt me badly. He wanted to make sure I would remember this. When his grip finally loosened, my legs gave out, and I crumpled to the ground. Everything looked fuzzy, but I could make out Vanessa standing there with her phone pointed at me, actually laughing like this was entertainment. This is what happens when you disrespect your family, she said to her camera. Play stupid games, win stupid prizes. Some of the guests looked horrified, but no one moved to help me, not one person. These pillars of the community, these wealthy socialites and businessmen and politicians, they all just stood there watching as I bled on the ground, and my mother calmly threw a napkin at me. Clean yourself up, Barbara said coldly. You are getting blood on my carpet. Do you have any idea how much that costs? A young man I did not recognize helped me to my feet. He whispered. I called 911. Ambulance is coming. Then he took Noah from my arms gently. I have got him, just hold on. The ambulance arrived 8 minutes later, but it felt like hours. The paramedics helped me into the vehicle while Noah climbed in beside me, finally quiet, holding my hand with both of his. As they closed the doors, I saw my father already on the phone, my mother ushering guests back to the party, Vanessa posting the video to her social media, with some caption about family drama. They had finally broken me, or so they thought. At the hospital, the doctors told me I had a severe concussion, required 10 stitches in my scalp, and was lucky the bottle had not fractured my skull. The police came to take a statement, but before I could say anything, my father arrived with his lawyer. I watched through the window of my hospital room as he spoke with the officers, gesturing, smiling, shaking hands. When they left without coming back to talk to me, I knew he had paid them off. The lawyer came into my room and laid out their terms. If I pressed charges, my father would sue for grandparents' rights. and take Noah from me. He had connections with judges, psychiatrists who would testify that I was an unfit mother. He would paint me as mentally unstable, dangerous. I would lose my son and probably end up institutionalized, or I could sign a non-disclosure agreement, accept a small payout, and never speak of this again. I was about to sign. What choice did I have? I could not lose Noah. He was everything. That was when Carter walked in. "Do not sign anything," he said firmly. He was the young man from the party, the one who had called the ambulance. Up close, I could see he was probably in his early 30s, well-dressed, but not ostentatiously so, with kind eyes and an intensity that suggested he was used to getting things done. "Who are you?" my father's lawyer demanded. "Carter Morrison, attorney at law, and I represent Ms. Ashford now." He turned to me. "I was at the party. I saw everything. I recorded everything on my smartwatch, every word, every blow, every guest who witnessed it, and unlike your father's bought cops, I already sent copies to the FBI and the state attorney general." The lawyer went pale. "You cannot." "I absolutely can. Assault and battery, child endangerment since Noah was in the room, witness intimidation, bribery of police officers. Oh, and I did some digging after the party. Your shell company scheme is about to become a federal investigation, Richard. The IRS is very interested in your creative accounting." My father tried to bluster his way through, but Carter was relentless. He laid out exactly what he had, exactly what he was going to do with it, and exactly how much prison time my father was facing if I decided to press charges. Then he turned to me. "The choice is yours," he said quietly. "You can sign their papers and let them win again, or you can fight back. I will represent you pro bono, but I need to know right now if you are ready to burn it all down." I looked at Noah sleeping in the chair beside my bed. I looked at the stitches in my reflection on the dark hospital window. I looked at my father's face, red with rage and fear for the first time in his life. "Burn it down," I said. The next week was a blur of police statements, medical exams, and legal paperwork. Carter was efficient and thorough. He had not been exaggerating about the evidence he had collected. The smartwatch video was damning, clear footage of my father assaulting me, Vanessa, filming and mocking my mother's callous response. He also had testimony from 3 guests who were willing to come forward, including the state senator, who was appalled by what he had witnessed. But Carter wanted more than just a criminal case. "We are going to destroy them completely," he told me over coffee in his downtown office. "Criminal charges are just the beginning. We are going civil too. Assault, intentional infliction of emotional distress, years of documented abuse. And we are going after Vanessa separately for the video for harassment for defamation." "But how do we prove the financial crimes?" I asked. "My father is careful." Carter smiled. "That is where you come in. I need you to get into his house and find his records. Can you do that?" I should have been scared. Breaking and entering even into my former home was illegal, but all I felt was cold determination. Yes. 3 days later, I dropped Noah off with my best friend Rachel, the only person outside of Carter who knew what I was planning. My parents were attending Vanessa's company celebration at a downtown hotel. I had the whole evening. I did not use the front door. Instead, I went around to the garage and punched in the code 0417, the birthday of my father's mistress Lisa, a detail I had learned years ago and filed away without even thinking it might be useful someday. The garage door rolled up silently. Inside the house felt different without them there. Emptier, less threatening. I went straight to Vanessa's room first. Her laptop was password protected, but I had come prepared. Carter had given me a USB drive with software that would bypass her security and install a keylogger. Within 10 minutes, I had access to everything: her emails, her bank accounts, her text messages. What I found was even worse than I had imagined. Vanessa was not just stealing ideas from employees, she was embezzling from the company's charity fund, the one they used for children's cancer research to fund her shopping addiction. Thousands of dollars meant for dying kids had gone to Hermès bags and Cartier jewellery. I downloaded everything. Then I went to my father's office. The room smelled like cigar smoke and expensive cologne. His desk was immaculate, everything in its place. But Carter had told me what to look for. Behind the painting of my grandfather, there was a wall safe. My father had never been creative with passwords. I tried Noah's birthday first wrong, then Vanessa's birthday wrong. Then I tried his own birthday backward. The safe clicked open. Inside were ledgers, physical handwritten ledgers documenting years of illegal transactions, bribes to city officials, fake invoices for tax evasion, payoffs to mistresses to keep them quiet, and most damning of all, a second set of books for the company showing the real numbers versus what had been reported to investors. I photographed every single page with my phone. Then I found something. I had not expected the password to the home security system. My father had recorded everything in this house for years, paranoid about employees stealing from him, which meant somewhere in this system was footage of every time he had abused me over the past 4 years. Carter talked me through accessing the cloud storage over the phone. "Look for the folder marked Archive," he said. "That's where he will keep the old footage." I found it. Hours and hours of video. My father shoving me against walls. My mother berating me in front of Noah. Vanessa destroying my belongings. And yes, the July 4th incident captured from 3 different angles showing exactly how brutal the assault had been. I downloaded everything onto an encrypted drive and got out of the house without leaving a trace. When I got back to my car, my hands were shaking so badly I could barely hold the steering wheel. But I had done it. I had the ammunition we needed. Carter's plan was elegant in its simplicity. My father was hosting a huge charity gala the following week, his official campaign launch for the city council race. It would be attended by everyone who mattered in the city: business leaders, politicians, media, the perfect stage for his downfall. We spent the week preparing. Carter coordinated with the FBI, who were already investigating my father's finances based on the initial evidence. He arranged for the videos to be anonymously sent to every major news outlet in the city, timed to release the morning of the gala. And he prepared the civil lawsuit, which would be filed the moment the criminal charges were made public. I spent the week getting ready in a different way. I used some of the money Carter had loaned me to buy a dress, a real dress, the kind I had never owned before. Deep red, elegant, powerful. I got my hair done. I practiced what I would say, how I would stand, how I would look my family in the eye and not flinch. The night of the gala, I arrived with Carter on my arm. The ballroom of the Riverside Hotel was spectacular, dripping with chandeliers, and filled with 500 of the city's elite. My family was at the centre of it all, soaking up the attention. Vanessa saw me first. Her eyes widened, then narrowed. She stalked over in her white designer gown, ready to throw me out. "What the hell are you doing here?" "I was invited," I said calmly, "by the future city councilman. He did say it was a family event." "You are not family," she hissed. "You are an embarrassment. Get out before I call security." "Actually," Carter said smoothly, "Ms. Ashford is a guest of the hotel management. They are very interested in the events about to unfold." Before Vanessa could respond, the lights dimmed for my father's presentation. He took the stage microphone in hand, beaming at the crowd. "Thank you all for coming tonight," he began. "For those who do not know me, I am Richard Ashford, and I am running for city council because I believe in family values, in honesty, in building a better community for all of us." That was when the video started playing on the massive screens behind him. At first, people did not understand what they were seeing, but then the audio kicked in. My father's voice screaming obscenities. Noah's screams, the sickening sound of the wine bottle hitting my skull. The image was crystal clear, a man beating his daughter bloody while his wife and other daughter watched. The room erupted in shocked gasps and shouts. My father spun around, his face going from confusion to horror as he saw himself on the screen. He lunged for the AV booth, but it was too late. The video kept playing, showing angle after angle of the assault. Some people started to leave. Others pulled out their phones recording. Then the screen changed to a different video. Vanessa at her computer typing out instructions to transfer charity funds into her personal account. Vanessa bragging in a text message about stealing the Riverside Project idea. Vanessa mocking her employees, her family, everyone around her. Vanessa shrieked from somewhere in the crowd, "Turn it off! Turn it off!" But we were not done. The next video was Barbara in her bedroom on the phone with her friend Catherine, saying vicious things about every single woman in her social circle, the same women who were sitting in this room, calling them pathetic cows and useful idiots, and describing in detail how she manipulated them for her own benefit. I watched as Barbara's carefully constructed social network collapsed in real time. Her friends stood up and walked out, their faces twisted in betrayal and rage. Finally, the screen showed documents, bank records, tax filings, the fake books versus the real ones. FBI agents materialized from the edges of the room, moving toward my father with purpose. Carter stepped onto the stage and took the microphone as my father was being read his rights. "Ladies and gentlemen, I apologize for the disruption to your evening. My name is Carter Morrison, and I represent Emily Ashford Richards' daughter, who has been the victim of systematic abuse, financial exploitation and assault by this family for her entire life. The evidence you have just seen is part of an ongoing federal investigation into Richard Ashford's financial crimes, as well as state charges of aggravated assault and battery. Vanessa Ashford is also being charged with embezzlement and fraud. We invite anyone with additional information to contact the FBI." The police chief, who had been sitting at table 3, had no choice but to authorize the arrests. My father was cuffed first, still trying to sputter denials. Then Vanessa, who was dragged away screaming about lawyers and lawsuits, her white dress suddenly looking more like a surrender flag than a fashion statement. My mother was not arrested that night. Her crimes were social, not legal. But as I watched her try to approach her friends, only to be met with turned backs and icy stares, I realized that for someone like Barbara, this was a fate worse than prison. I stood in the center of that ballroom and felt nothing but cold satisfaction. 28 years of pain, of being made to feel worthless, of sacrificing everything for people who saw me as less than human. It was over. I had won. The next 6 months were a legal whirlwind. My father pleaded guilty to tax evasion, fraud, and assault to avoid a longer trial. He got 12 years in federal prison. Vanessa fought her charges but was convicted on 4 counts of embezzlement and 3 counts of fraud. She got 8 years and was ordered to pay restitution of over $2 million money she did not have since all her assets were seized. The civil suit was even more satisfying. Carter proved years of emotional abuse, financial exploitation, and assault. The jury awarded me $8 million in compensatory and punitive damages. My father's company, already hemorrhaging from the scandal, was forced to liquidate to pay the judgment. Their lake house, the symbol of everything they valued, was sold at auction. I did not buy it. I did not want it. Some tech CIO from California bought it and turned it into a rental property. Barbara lost everything that mattered to her: her social standing, her wealth, her carefully curated image. The bank foreclosed on their primary residence. Her country club revoked her membership. She ended up in a small condo in a part of town she used to call beneath her, living on social security and whatever she could squeeze from selling her designer clothes online. She called me once about 3 months after the trial ended. I saw her name on my phone and almost did not answer, but curiosity got the better of me. "Emily," she said, and her voice was different, smaller. "I need your help. The bank is taking everything. I have nowhere to go." "You should have thought of that before you threw a napkin at your bleeding daughter and told her she was ruining your carpet," I said calmly. "Please, I am your mother." "No," I said. "A mother protects her children. A mother loves them unconditionally. You are just the woman who gave birth to me and spent the next 28 years making me wish she had not. Goodbye, Barbara." I blocked her number. I have not spoken to any of them since. As for me, I used parts of the settlement money to buy a small bakery in a nice neighbourhood with good schools. It had always been my dream to own my own business, to create something with my hands, to build something that was mine. The bakery is called Noah's Nest, and it is decorated with airplanes because my son helped design it. Noah is thriving now. We have a real apartment with 2 bedrooms and a yard. He goes to a school with a fantastic special education program. He has friends. He laughs every single day. He does not flinch when he hears loud noises anymore because I made sure to get him the best therapy money can buy. I see Carter regularly. He never charged me a cent for his representation. When I asked him why, he told me that he had grown up in an abusive home and wished someone had helped him escape. Helping me was his way of paying it forward. We have dinner once a week, and sometimes I let myself wonder if it might become something more. But I am not in a hurry. For the first time in my life, I am learning to just exist without serving someone else's needs. This morning, I looked at myself in the bathroom mirror. The scar on my forehead has faded to a thin white line. I used to hate it, used to see it as a mark of my weakness, proof that I had let them hurt me. Now I see it differently. It is a reminder of what I survived. It is a battle scar. It is proof that I fought back and won. They say blood is thicker than water. They say family is everything. They say you should always forgive your parents because they did their best. But here is what I learned: sometimes the most loving thing you can do for yourself is cut out the rot. Sometimes the family you are born into is toxic, and the only way to survive is to walk away. Sometimes burning everything down is the only way to build something new. I do not regret what I did. Not for a single second. My father chose to hit me. Vanessa chose to mock me. My mother chose to be cruel. I just chose to make sure they faced consequences for those choices. If that makes me vindictive, so be it. I would rather be vindictive and free than forgiving and trapped. So here is my question for you. If you were in my position, how far would you go to reclaim your life? Would you burn it all down for your freedom, or would you choose forgiveness? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. And if this story resonated with you, if you have ever felt trapped by toxic family members or people who claimed to love you while treating you like garbage, hit that like button and subscribe. You are not alone. There is always a way out. Sometimes you just have to be brave enough to light the match. Thank you for listening to my story. Remember, you are worthy of respect, of love, of a life where you are not someone's punching bag or servant or scapegoat. Do not let anyone tell you otherwise, not even family, especially not family.